When you're buying rubber products, you have custom parts you're looking for and standard parts you're looking for. We have something in the middle of that.
Our standard parts can be not so standard.
You're looking at our catalog that has, 1,000 plus parts. Extrusions, we have bumpers, grommets, vibration mounts that we keep in stock for, quick turnaround.
That you say, I like that standard part, I like that configuration, but I want it made in a different material because my environment will not take your standard part, but we can use the same tool.
And you want to make modifications to the material or durometer.
We can give you different tensile, we can change color, we can change the type of stud, we can use different diameter studs, we can use different lengths of studs. We have all kinds of variations.
There's no tooling costs associated with making those changes, and the turnaround is quick.
And we can customize that part based on a standard minor rubber owned tool that all of our customers can utilize.
We call that custom standard parts, and it's only available for minor rubber.
Which means no tooling cost and no development time.
And still it has a faster turnaround than a custom part.
And beyond that, we also do custom parts. If none of our standard parts would work for you, we will produce a custom part for you.
We always say, let all your rubber problems be minor problems. Here at Minor Rubber, we have three methods of molding rubber parts: compression, transfer, and injection.
Cast urethanes, latex dip molded products.
A big thing that we always hear is, our approach to customer service.
It's all about relationships. And whether it's one part or 20 parts, it doesn't matter. The relationship is formed. That's how we do business.
That we are a company, a well-established company. We have knowledge and capabilities in many different fields. We do aerospace, we do military, we do just about anything you can think of. We have a lot of people who have, like I say, a lot of knowledge. We have the equipment, we have the ability to produce the part you need, and we understand a lot of what you need, which you may not be able to articulate to us. We can discuss with you and draw that out of you.
We like to have a very conversational relationship with people.
As to not just what is the part you need, but what is the application. That's really the key. Where are you going to use it?
We are very customer focused. If you can go down their street and probably get a great part from someone else, but it may be exactly what you asked for, not what you need. What it means is you've designed a part or picked a material that you think is ideal for your application. We look at it, and with our expertise of 106 years, we can come back to you and say, hey, I think you may want to look at this and why. Now, we never ever talk down to our customers. We engage them. We say to them, look, I respect what you've done and I like your design, but here's something I think would be more appropriate for your application. I can tell you that our success on new jobs, if not 99.9, it's 100%. Once we commit to make something for you, very, very rarely will we ever have to do it a second time. Here we are in our 90,000 square foot manufacturing facility. Here are our presses for the compression and transfer molding, and over here we have our presses for our injection molding process. We have our extrusion lines, we have our curing ovens, we have our cutting department, we have our grinding department, we have our splicing department. So everything we do here is completely self-contained. We also do all of our own tooling here with an EDM. We make our own extrusion dies, splice molds. Everything is right here. 96% of what we sell is made here in the United States. No, we don't bring any material in. All the material we use in Georgia, all the material Rob uses up in New Hampshire is all compounded in the United States. You're looking for a compression molded part, but you don't have real tight tolerances. It's a bigger part. It could be a part that's made from a very difficult material to mold because it can handle the higher durometers. We don't have to worry about the material flowing into the cavity. It's already in the cavity. Compression molding is a two-piece mold. And you'll see here that you have a parting line which means that half of the part is in the top of the mold and half of the part is in the bottom of the mold. This is the simplest form of molding, the cheapest molds that you can make because there's less technology. We have a cutout in the mold that represents the size of the part. It's a rectangle, and in that mold we put a load, a specific piece of uncured material that we lay in the cavity. When the mold comes together, it squashes that under heat and pressure, and it fills out the cavity to yield the part. We can do maybe 3 feet by 7 feet. That would be the biggest. The smallest molds we run are probably 12 by 12 inches. This is also a compression molded part. The parting line is right here. It goes right down here, and you can see that half the part is made in the upper plate and in the bottom plate. There's a core that goes in here that forms the part. The cure time is longer, it's about 20 minutes. Our bigger parts, 1 cavity mold, maybe 2 to 4 cavity molds, so you don't produce that many pieces an hour, but your tool cost is very low. The one thing with this is after you mold it, you have to trim it. There are trim grooves. And when we take this out, there's a lot of flash here, so that has to be removed by hand. So there is some labor after it's been molded. It's basically left for heavy industry, heavy parts with a lot of material. And we use it for all types of industries, agriculture, transportation. So molds can run anywhere from $1,000 to $20,000. It all depends on how big the part is, how complex it is. All tooling that we manufacture is hardened steel. Company philosophy is we're not a company that just makes rubber parts. We're a company that gets involved with you. We don't design parts, but we give you design assistance. We don't design formulas per se, or compounders do that, but based on the feedback we get from our customer, we give that to our compounders and they come up with a formula that would meet your specifications. The transfer molding process is taking the material and transferring it from the pot into the cavity. Here's a perfect example of that. What we do is, instead of laying the material in the cavity, we have what we call a pot that sits above the top plate. So what we do is we put the material in the pot, press it down with the press. It melts and goes into the cavities, fills out the cavities, and makes the part. Now, why would we do this instead of just making it a compression part? Well, it's a little bit tighter tolerance. We do rubber to metal bonding, so we'll put the plate in the mold. You'll see here on the top of this part, you'll see 2 what we call gates, and that's where the material is coming from the pot into the cavity to form the part. Yeah, there's a metal plate, a steel plate, and it's bonded right to the rubber. We could also encapsulate a part. We have one part here that has rubber on 4 sides, but not on the bottom. And this is another part, and we can see the gates here where we inject into the mold as well. That's how the material comes from the pot into the cavity. This is an example of transfer molding. Now we have a number of ways of producing an extruded part. There are basically four methods for extruding. You have microwave, you have salt, you have hot air vulcanizing, we call HAV, and you have conventional cure, which is steam cured.
It's a matter of taking uncured rubber, feeding it through like your old meat grinders.
People are always amazed to find out what our material is like before we extrude it. And actually, it's just a piece of, it feels like a piece of uncured gum rubber.
And you extrude a profile. Have a die on the end of it, it's in the configuration you're looking for. It goes through a tunnel, passes through a heating unit that cures it.
And cured in line to make the proper durometer.
And in some cases, we have cutters on the end of them. People want pieces cut out of that extrusion. They just cut them at the end, they fall in a box, and you're done.
Or we put it in an oven to post-cure. Now, what we try to do is run most of our product through our continuous cure line because it saves labor, saves energy. When we get to the end of the line, it's ready to put in a box and ship it, whether it be cut or shipped as a coil or a straight length. And then on the conventional cure, which is steam cure, we extrude it, and then we put it in vulcanizers, autoclaves, and cure the material. So there are some materials that require that, and there are other compounds that can't be run with continuous cure. What minor rubber really does better than most of our competitors are our molded corners. In fact, if you look at this part, you can hardly see the parting line. That's how good a job we do. It's something that not every rubber company wants to do, that extrudes rubber, but it's something that we specialize in and take a great deal of pride in. Yeah, you can do it. You can do a molded corner, you can do an injection molded corner, or you can do a butt splice. They're all done under heat and pressure. Many of our competitors use glue. The way we do it under heat and pressure, which gives you a much better bond. We use a cold bond, it's more apt to fail. Now it's cheaper and it's easier to do because you don't need the equipment that we have, but this is the right way to do it. Yeah, as far as we're concerned, glue won't do. You've got to do it in a vulcanized process. Here's an example of a gasket that we've made with a splice corner. It's got a 90-degree angle here and probably got a 60-degree angle here. And we can do cross sections up to maybe 2.5, 3 inches by 4 or 5 inches. A lot of places don't offer all the capabilities that we have for putting corners on extruded parts. Here's an example of a butt splice gasket, which is just like used as an O-rings. Here's something that we're doing right now for our transportation account, where we extrude the gasket, we buy the sensors, and then we insert the sensor and deliver it as an assembly to the customer. So here we have an extrusion, same profile here, same profile here. We place this in a mold, we inject the molded corner to bring the two together. And this will never come apart. This part we could only do in, say, 6-foot lengths and cure it conventionally, or the ovens aren't deep enough. So what we do is take 2 long lengths and then butt them together to form an even longer length. And so you have a splice here that is almost equal to the strength of the product itself. Here's an example of our being able to mark parts with your data. We can put a mil spec on it, we can put your part number on it, and you can repeat every so many feet or every so many inches. So we do that in line too, so that's not a stencil. What's great about extruding is that we can take a profile. Say you want this profile here. We can produce this in 10, 15, 20-foot lengths in our extruding process. And the cost of tooling is negligible. And we can run anywhere from 500 feet to 10,000 feet, 25,000 feet at an economical price and with quick turnaround times. And we can run small quantities. Order sizes for production can be anywhere from $500 up. So you could start off with a part, never have made it before, come to us, we'll say, okay, the die on this is gonna be $350, and I can run you $500 worth of material as a minimum run if it's from a standard compound. And therefore, for less than $1,000, you go from nothing to getting a production part. We always say, let all your rubber problems be minor problems.